There's drama at Warner Brothers. And yeah, what else is new, right? But apparently the Ray Fisher versus Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon and John Berg situation has escalated to now it's kind of him versus Warner Brothers, I guess, because Warner Brothers released a statement recently that kind of discredited a lot of what he was saying or some of the big stuff that he was saying. But it was spurred on when Ray Fisher went to Twitter, his favorite social media platform, to blast people he used to work with at Warner Brothers. He targeted Walter Hamada, apparently, the president of DC Films, with this tweet, which was dated yesterday. So you can better understand how deep this goes. After speaking out about Justice League, I received a phone call from the president of DC Films, aka Walter Hamada, wherein he attempted to throw Joss Whedon and John Berg under the bus in hopes that I would relent on Jeff Johns. That last sentence, what he means there is relent on Jeff Johns, that part. As you probably already know, Ray Fisher's recent barrage of tweets regarding this situation, he's targeted Jeff Johns, saying Jeff Johns did all this horrible stuff. Originally, he said, Joss Whedon was doing horrible stuff. But then later on, he started trashing Jeff Johns. So that's what he means here. Relent on tweeting bad things about Jeff Johns. But Ray Fisher says, I will not. Accountability is greater than entertainment. The first part of that sentence, this tweet, so you can better understand how deep this goes, that wording, that phrasing does make it seem like there's some kind of a conspiracy going on, a cover-up, right? To protect people, that Warner Brothers is protecting people they don't want to get in trouble. That's what that statement, so you can better understand how deep this goes, that's what that alludes to. That's what pops up into my head. He doesn't exactly say that, but it kind of seems what he's implying. Now, back on August 20th, it was announced that Warner Media was investigating the Justice League production amid all of those tweets that Ray Fisher was saying before. Jeff Johns did this, John Berg did this, Joss Whedon did this. That Warner Media hired a third-party investigator or company to look into all this. And back then, around August 20th, Ray Fisher was very, congratulatory about this. I'm glad this is happening. This is what he tweeted back on August 20th. After 5 weeks of interviews with various cast crew, Warner Media has officially launched an independent third-party investigation to get to the heart of the toxic and abusive work environment created during Justice League reshoots. This is a massive step forward. I believe this investigation will show that Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, John Berg, and others grossly abused their power during the uncertainty of AT&T's merger with Time Warner. Thank you, Warner Media and AT&T, for making strides to ensure a safer workplace for all. Fast forward to, September 4th, though, and Ray Fisher made that tweet I said earlier in this video where he basically called out Walter Hamada, and now Warner Brothers is issuing a statement basically trying to discredit him, saying that Ray Fisher is not cooperating with this investigation. So I'm here on CBR, so let's go on it here. It's in multiple places, but I chose this article to talk about it with. Warner Brothers issue statement alleges Ray Fisher has not cooperated with Justice League abuse investigation. Warner Brothers issued a statement on the investigation into Ray Fisher's claims of abuse on the Justice League set. In response to the claims that actor Ray Fisher has made about abusive behavior on the set of Justice League from Joss Whedon, John Berg, and Jeff Johns, Warner Brothers has issued a statement alleging that Fisher has failed to cooperate with the investigation thus far. Fisher, who played Victor Stone / Cyborg in Justice League, first tweeted his complaints about Whedon in July. Whedon had taken over direction of the film when Zack Snyder had to leave due to a family tragedy. Fisher later accused Jeff Johns of threatening his career and referred to both him and John Berg as Whedon's enablers. In August, he revealed that his claims were being investigated by Warner Media. More recently, Fisher claimed that DC Films president Walter Hamada attempted to throw Whedon and Berg under the bus in an effort to get Fisher to relent regarding his claims against Johns. But Warner Brothers is basically saying that's not true, that last part. And here's their statement. In July, Ray Fisher's representatives asked DC Films president Walter Hamada to talk to Mr. Fisher about his concerns during the production of Justice League. The two had previously spoken when Mr. Hamada asked him to reprise his role as Cyborg in Warner Brothers' upcoming Flash movie, together with other members of the Justice League. In their July conversation, Mr. Fisher recounted disagreements he'd had with the film's creative team regarding his portrayal of Cyborg and complained that his suggested script revisions were not adopted. Mr. Hamada explained that creative differences are a normal part of the production process and that a film's writer, director ultimately has to be in charge of these matters. Now let's stop right there. So right now they're saying that a big part of these initial investigations or Ray Fisher's unhappiness was that he didn't like how his character was being portrayed by, I guess, Joss Whedon in the reshoots. Now, he can be upset, but right there, them including this, I think, is them trying to make him look bad or look like he's being unreasonable. Because as this statement says, it's creative differences are a normal part of the process, and the director's the one who's supposed to do things for their vision, even if it means cutting people out. So they're kind of making it seem like Ray Fisher was just complaining about how his character was portrayed. Like, there wasn't enough Cyborg screen time. Like, it may have been more than that. Like, this is their side. But I'm saying by putting this in there, they're kind of making it, I think, planting the seeds in readers' minds that Ray Fisher was kind of being unreasonable or kind of a prima donna. Like, I want my character to be like this, and, Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers are cutting it out or changing it, and I don't like this, so I'm, like, throwing a fit. That's what this paragraph seems to kind of be saying, even though it's not really saying that. But it might be different, maybe there's more to it, and there probably is. But I think, they're trying to lay the seeds of doubt in Ray Fisher's claims and his position and to discredit him. I mean, this whole statement is basically against him, but I think that paragraph right there is important. It's like, yeah, Ray Fisher, you're trying to tell us how to do our movie. That's not our job. That's not your job. That's ours. We're the ones who decide how this movie's going to go. If you're unhappy, those are the breaks. But let's keep going on. Notably, Mr. Hamada also told Mr. Fisher that he would elevate his concerns to Warner Media so they could conduct an investigation. At no time did Mr. Hamada ever throw anyone under the bus, as Mr. Fisher has falsely claimed. Yeah, right here, they're flat out calling him a liar. Or render any judgments about the Justice League production, in which Mr. Hamada had no involvement since filming occurred before Mr. Hamada was elevated to his current position. While Mr. Fisher never alleged any actionable misconduct against him, Warner Media nonetheless initiated an investigation into the concerns he'd raised about his character's portrayal. Still not satisfied, Mr. Fisher insisted that Warner Media hire an independent third-party investigation. Ooh, so they're saying right here that this investigation was never even about any misconduct or abusive behavior. It was all about Ray Fisher being unhappy with the way Cyborg was being treated. So yeah, they're kind of underlining the fact that Ray Fisher's being kind of a diva here. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. This could just be them trying to cover their butts. But that seems to be what they're saying here. That it's not as big of a deal as he's saying. It was over his character. They're saying he's not alleging any actionable misconduct. But, on Twitter, Ray Fisher has been, implying all kinds of misconduct. So they're basically calling him a liar and I think a prima donna with this statement. This investigator has attempted to multiple times to meet with Mr. Fisher to discuss his concerns, but to date, Mr. Fisher has declined to speak to the investigator. Warner Brothers remains committed to accountability and to the well-being of every cast and crew member on each of its productions. It also remains committed to investigating any specific and credible allegation of misconduct, which thus far Mr. Fisher has failed to provide. So right there, that does create some issues from Ray Fisher, right? They're saying here, Warner Brothers officially, nothing about this investigation that has been claimed privately or that has been uncovered has raised any concerns about abuse or misconduct, right? That's what I mean. That's what I get from credible allegation. Allegations means abuse, misconduct. But that goes against a lot, everything Ray Fisher has been saying in his tweets, attacking Johns, Berg, and Whedon. They've been abusive, they've been gross, all this kind of stuff. But this statement is all about basically saying Ray Fisher was just unhappy about the way Cyborg, how much screen time he got, and the way his character's being portrayed. We don't know anything about any abuse. So, either they're telling the truth, and Ray Fisher is blowing things out of proportion, or they're not telling the truth, and they're trying to cover their butts. I don't know. Either way, I don't know. At this point, it does make it look like Warner Brothers is trying to, burn Ray Fisher to the ground. And I don't think that bodes well for him in the future. Now, as people have pointed out, this is Warner Brothers. It isn't AT&T, which is higher than Warner Brothers. You know, AT&T is the one who wants to release the Snyder cuts, and they're the ones forcing Warner Brothers to, you know, put Zack Snyder's vision on the screen. So, you know, AT&T might not care about all this and, you know, maybe keep Cyborg's character and bring Ray Fisher back for other things. But at this point, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure AT&T knows Warner Brothers is unhappy with Ray Fisher, and I don't know if they would like throw Walter Hamada under the bus privately just for the sake of Ray Fisher and because he's friends with Zack Snyder. I mean, maybe they would, but I think that if people at Warner Brothers are like trying to, you know, attack Ray Fisher publicly, I don't know if AT&T is going to like undercut the entire Warner Brothers division or Walter Hamada just for Ray Fisher. I mean, we'll see what happens, how this turns out. You know, the Snyder Cut is coming out next year. Cyborg's supposed to be a big part of that. If the Snyder Cut's successful and Cyborg's character is well received, that could be good for Ray Fisher, but I don't know. If Warner Brothers, the studio, is thinking he's problematic and if he's pissing off, you know, the president of DC Films, I don't know. I'm not sure if things are going to go too well for him, even if AT&T is backing him. I mean, we don't know that. I'm saying I don't know that they're going to back him after this, not to go against Warner Brothers. So we'll see. I mean, it's as Cyborg once said famously, the ride ain't over yet. It's not over yet. We'll see how Ray Fisher responds to this. He's shown that he's not afraid to push back against people on Twitter. He hasn't said anything since this has come out. So I don't know. I guess that statement's coming. But it's getting pretty ugly because now, you know, it's not just Geoff Johns, Joss Whedon, John Burke he's accusing. Now it's the president of DC Films, Walter Hamada, who are getting mixed up in this war, and Warner Brothers itself. And I'm thinking, you know, this is just getting a lot more messy. But how do you feel? Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.